Daryl, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you joining me for an episode.
Of course, of course.
Thanks so much. Have you brought in facts about yourself so our audience can know you a little better?
I think so. I think so.
What you got?
Well, I mean, first of all, I am a father. I'm a divorced father of two daughters. So that's, it's kind of been a unique challenge to A, be a divorced dad or single dad, and then B, have daughters. But I think it's been great because they kind of keep me, I don't want to say young, but they, it's like, I like being connected to like the world and kind of like culture. I was a child of the 80s, and so I grew up with MTV and the radio and,
Yeah.
80s movies and all that stuff. And so having them around still kind of gets me to pay attention to what's going on and kind of connect to it. Like, I know what K-pop is, even if I'm not a fan, but they're not
Right.
really fans either. But because through them I pay attention to things, like I know who Chapel Roan is and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been enjoyable. And now they're kind of getting older, and they'll be moving away from me, so I have to like figure out on my own some of these things, I guess, going forward. But it's been fun. Some of the things that they like are stuff I like. And it's kind of weird too because they'll have a song on a playlist. So like, how do you know that song? It's like, because it's TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, that song is 40 years old.
Same with
Yeah.
my boys.
Yeah,
How do you know every word to Living on a Prayer?
exactly. And when I would do it, you wouldn't pay attention. But when TikTok does it, it's your
right.
favorite song.
Suddenly we're listening to it in the car.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of unfair, but I guess I can live with it.
So funny.
So-
I've tried to explain to my boys before the phenomenon of MTV.
Exactly.
Just what a special thing it was
Yeah.
to be able to turn on MTV.
Yeah. And, they have YouTube and like I said, TikTok and stuff like that. But yeah, just to have it on the TV to see those things and see the bands that you would listen to and stuff like that, and have that run 24 hours and,
Yeah.
yeah. And, I remember when it was new, because I'm quite old enough to remember when it was new, and it was just like, a revelation. And so
Yeah.
it kind of sculpted, popular culture for a long, long time. So, yeah.
I still love watching some of those old videos, like the really landmark ones, like
Yeah.
Sledgehammer.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a dad of two daughters. What else you got?
Well, kind of leading into that is I guess music is my biggest hobby or passion.
Oh, cool.
Listening to it, playing it.
What do you play?
I play guitar. I play ukulele, kinda. I have a couple of these handheld synthesizers that I mess around with. 30 years ago, almost, I was in a band with some friends. That's really the only time I've done that. But I've done some other things, but that's like the main time I was ever in a band. I ever wrote songs.
What was your band's name?
Thrum, Thrum.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. So
Thrum.
we were all college friends, and we all lived here in Austin together. And I'd played guitar since like high school, even though I didn't take it quite that seriously. Another friend I lived with played drums, and then the other two guys kind of took up guitar and bass. And our other friend was a singer, started singing. So we just put that together, did covers. I started writing songs for the first time really ever. We did it for a couple of years. We only mostly played for friends and parties and stuff like that. And so, but then, we were already out of college and almost out of like graduate school and stuff like that. So, it didn't last, and I didn't do much after that, but it was fun. I still like to play. I mess around with writing songs, some still, stuff like that. But so that's, kind of my big thing. That's one of the things that'll get me talking more than a lot of other things is music. And I do like to think that my tastes are actually pretty wide ranging.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of things. My favorite things might be stuff that's like obscure or kind of music snob kind of maybe, but by and large, I mean, I like all kinds of popular music. Nothing's really a guilty pleasure because I think everything is legitimately has a place and to be enjoyed. So
I could not agree more.
Yeah.
If you enjoy it, why feel guilty about
Yeah.
it? Just enjoy it.
Exactly. I mean, you could, and I'm not naive about it. I know some things are immature or they're
Right.
or juvenile, I guess, really, I should say. Or they're not, the song is very simple, stuff like that. I still like a lot of the hair metal I listened to when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I know it's pop music. It's it's not meant to be heavy. It's not meant to be, necessarily have a message or political all the time. It was pop music. It was they sang it to meet women and have a good time, and that's what it was. So you appreciate that as it is. You don't try to make it something that it wasn't. So, but I like like I was talking about with my kids and their music. So I know a lot of that stuff that's on the radio now, and some of it I like. And some of it, some of it's not for me. Some of it I like. Occasionally, though, I have to say that I do feel a little old when for some stuff, like the stuff that I actually like that I might go see in concert. There are newer artists and bands that I enjoy, but I kind of feel like I'm older than the average audience now. So like, there's been a couple times I've gone to the concert, feel like, well, I'm not here to chaperone y'all, but I like the songs too. But it does feel a little weird. Like there's that gap. But it also reminds me of how it was when I was 20 and going to concerts. Like I went to school undergrad up in Georgetown, Southwestern. So we would drive into Austin for shows, for concerts. And so that was, and I see, kids now are doing that for themselves. It kind of reminds me of where I was then.
Yeah.
But cool. I still like the music and I still enjoy the music. But yeah, that's I think ever since I was a kid, like we talk about MTV, like I would watch that pretty religiously.
Yeah.
And so MTV started, when it started, it was a lot of rock bands. So I knew bands like Rolling Stones and Cheap Trick and stuff like that from old MTV. And so that's part of what I was into. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing that most gets me going is music and talking about music. So playing it, listening to it.
Do either of your daughters play an instrument?
My older daughter has a guitar that she was trying to learn. My younger daughter played it for a minute too, but she didn't really want to stick with it. I am not a very patient teacher, so my teaching them was really not going to be in the cards, but they are, at least my older daughter is trying to do it kind of now on her own. She took voice lessons for a second. I want them to be creative and do that too, but I don't want to like push it on them. And like I said, I was not the right person to be a teacher for that.
Yeah.
So that didn't ever really happen. But
well, like you were saying earlier when we were talking about your girls, they both seem to have creative interests and creative things that they're exploring, and that's cool.
Yeah, luckily they do have creative stuff. Yeah, I mean, I would love to see them be successful in whatever art they choose. But yeah, no, it's not like I taught them to play guitar, because that was not really where my patience is. So yeah.
All right. Do you have? So I think that's two. Do you have a third thing? What's your third thing?
My third thing is I am pretty introverted. That's kind of just how I am. But I actually do like being around people. Yeah. I like being in groups, even if I'm not the one talking much or at all. I do like being in groups. And there's some introverts who say they don't really like that's too much of a pressure or a burden. But I enjoy, being around people and talking to people. If I'm quiet, it's because that's just how I am. It's not because I don't like people or I don't like you. It's just sometimes I don't know what to say to people. Like my small talk meter is kind of.
Well, small talk for introverts is torture. Yeah.
So there's a lot of things. Yeah. It's kind of hard sometimes. And I haven't always had the interest that, especially like, for us, for men, it's, sports is like a big thing, but I don't really follow any sports at all. So that's always been a gap. That's something that I couldn't really immediately relate to. So I always kind of felt like there was something missing there maybe. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the guy that just goes around talking to everybody in the office. I feel like I don't know what to say, or I feel like maybe I feel like my life is more boring than maybe it is, because I live it and I see it every day. So it's like, to me, it's why would I want to talk about that? That's silly. That's dull. Which other people might find it really interesting. I don't know. But
so good.
Yeah, but I am quiet, but it's not because I don't like people or I don't want to talk to people. I do. It's just that's just not quite how I am.
Yeah. Several years ago, I read a book called The Introvert Advantage, and I had struggled with this too. I felt like there was something wrong with me, and like being in certain crowds where there was sort of an expectation of like mingling or whatever, and being talkative or whatever, friendly. It was hard for me.
Yeah.
And reading that book was such an eye opener, and kind of the thing that the author echoes throughout is saying there's nothing wrong with you. You're just an introvert.
Yeah. Okay. I
And
check that book out.
it's stuff like thinking about, like saying, oh, what's wrong with me? Her point is like an extrovert never thinks that.
Yeah.
It's at least not in terms of like interacting socially and that sort of thing, and reflecting later, oh, what did I say? How did that person take it? That's a very introverted kind of brain way of thinking about it, and distinguishing between being shy and being introverted. Like I don't think that I'm shy. I was as a kid, but I don't think I'm shy now. But I am absolutely an introvert. And her different to her, what she was saying, the difference is that it's how you recharge your battery.
Mm-hmm.
And introverts have to recharge on their own, kind of quietly, and extroverts have to recharge among people.
Yeah. No, I definitely still like my me time.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the evening, I'm sitting in my chair reading a book, and that's something that definitely is a me time. I mean, I think I am kind of shy too, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always kind of been how I am too. So
Yeah.
I do have that combination, I think.
Yeah.
But I'll have to check that book out.
It's awesome. All right, Daryl, we have arrived at the point in the show where you
All
choose your
right.
question.
What's in the
Please.
box?
Choose one and then hand it to me and let me read it to you.
I won't look. Okay, I think that's one.
That is one.
All right.
Good job. Let's see what you got here. Sorry about
Okay.
that. All right, this is. So I wrote 53 questions. This is number
Okay.
22, in
Okay.
case you're wondering.
All right.
I know you weren't.
Yeah.
The question is, who are you closest to?
Wow. Okay. Oh, that is a good question.
And you can kind of answer that however you want.
Yeah. I gotta say, at this point, I mean, I guess it's changed over the time, but right now it might be my younger daughter. She still lives at home, and
You said she's 18?
yeah, she's 18, still lives at home. My older daughter has already moved out and been gone for a few years now, really. My younger daughter, yeah, still lives at home. It's mostly just me and her. We do have a cat, of course, but but she has friends, and she's started school, but she spends a lot of time at home, also. Part of that is just because she doesn't quite drive, and I can't really afford a second car and insurance, but that's a whole other story. But also, like, just I think we have a lot of similar qualities.
Yeah.
In terms of sense of humor, some of it interests personality-wise. I like to think I'm a fairly caring person who can do a lot for other people, and she's always kind of been like that too. Cared about her friends. Always wanted to help them out. Like, especially when she was younger, like she could make friends pretty easily, which I guess is different from me, but thankfully she could make friends pretty easily. And so she always had a bunch of friends, and she would be concerned about them, which is something I've been in my life as well for my friends and family. And so she really cares also about our family, our broader family. I think she has a lot of empathy, which I feel like I do too.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes it gets burned out of you, but I definitely feel like I have it.
I've heard we work together. I've
Yeah.
heard you on the phone at work, and I feel like even if you don't realize it, your empathy is a pretty obvious thing. If someone really wants to look at you, it's pretty easy to see your empathy.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I got to be honest. The line of work that we're in, it's hard sometimes because you're trying to do something to help a kid, and sometimes you're doing more for that kid than maybe their own parents are. And so it's hard to kind of realize, like, well, why should I? You're not my kid, but it's because somebody needs to do it.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that falls on us who don't even know the kid really. But we have to do something to kind of fill the gap that's unfortunately been left there for them.
Yeah.
So Yeah, but sometimes it gets hard too because you need support to maintain a certain well of empathy. I think too, you need some outside support, some time to recharge,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not always there. You know, we of course have procedures, we have laws, we have rules, and they just require things to happen regardless of the people that may or may not be there behind it to make it happen. There's there's mandates in place, but there's not always the resources from people, money, etc., to make them happen. And so you have to you got to still do it, and hopefully you can make it work out, or you have to draw on every resource you have sometimes to make it work out. And usually it does, but it just kind of makes you feel for a minute like defeated, like I did all this for what, or why did I have to do all that? Why isn't you know these other areas of this kid's life stepping in like
Yeah.
I think they should be,
Yeah.
and they don't, and so it becomes me, a bureaucrat basically who doesn't know them half the time, but I'm expected to like wave wands and make things happen when I don't really have all the support or power to do that. So, but getting back to empathy, she definitely has that, which I think is something I have. I think we have similar senses of humor. We find similar things funny. One thing we bonded over is watching The Office. Like I watched it first run, and I watched. It's actually one of my comfort foods, I guess, still to watch reruns over and over again. I've
Yeah.
seen them all hundreds of times,
Yeah.
but it's because it's something I can just chill on and veg out on. Well, a couple of years ago, when she was staying with her mom for the summer, I guess they watched it all together too, and so she finds the same parts of it funny that I do. Like we can quote things to each other that we both find funny, and really, I guess there's a lot of like kids movies that they have that I watched with them and I appreciate, and so it's something we can still talk to each other in terms of like references. We have some of these similar references to each other that kind of, in my opinion, reflect the sense of humor that we both have.
Yeah.
So
It's fun to share a sense of
yeah.
humor with your kid.
yeah, and it makes you feel like it makes me feel cool and like I'm understood, so that's
Right.
good too. But yeah, so I think we've spent more time alone together now than I think I did with my older daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if she is aware of that or she misses that too. I kind of wish we had a little bit more because she was born. She was only a couple of years old or so, 3 or 4 years old. We had her sister, and so the times that we had alone together, she was very young, so we didn't. She probably doesn't remember most of it because she was a baby, a little kid, and then her sister came along, and her sister's more or less always been there, both kind of together. We didn't do a whole lot of like, long term, one kid here, one kid there. We didn't do that a whole lot with my
Yeah.
ex-wife. By and large, they were mostly together. But now that she's older, like I said, moved on into getting her own life going. Younger daughter's still at home, and I just think it's given us time to bond that I don't have with a lot of other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, right now it is her.
I would say at this point, I have both my kids still at home with me. I would say they're the people I'm closest to. And one thing that I want your opinion on this. One thing that I've struggled with a little bit, but it's definitely been kind of something in my mind. Balancing. I mean, you can't dump everything on your kid.
No,
because
no.
that is not their role.
Yeah.
And I have sometimes struggled knowing, okay, I want my kids to know who I am. I want to show myself to them and live life as an authentic person.
Yeah.
And who I am on the inside, I want to project that on the outside so that there's sort of this congruency between who I am inside and out. But I also want to shield them. There's a natural instinct to kind of shield your kids from negative things. And sometimes if I'm down on myself or having, I'm kind of focused on my inadequacies, what I feel like I need to shield them from is me. And that can be hard. How do you find the balance between sort of sharing with your daughter, sharing yourself with your daughter, but also, shielding her a little bit from stuff that's more what you should be dealing with kind of on your own?
No, that's definitely something I thought about. Even while they're adults, I still it I don't know if I'm always conscious of doing it, but I do try to like not burden them with adult stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't necessarily have a problem showing my emotions with them. They've seen me be sad. They've seen me be mad.
Mm-hmm.
They've seen me be really happy, disappointed, all that. But some of the struggles, like of being an adult, of being a single father, of only having one income, you know, I've struggled with saying no for a lot of things because I want them to have everything. I think I said I felt guilty, even though technically I probably should have said no a lot more to a lot of things, and a lot of little things that add up, stuff like that. But I guess I try to be conscious of not sharing that stuff with them, those parts, but I don't. I think maybe I've practiced it enough now that I kind of just know how to keep a balance and how to like hold back or not. I don't know if sometimes I catch myself, but it's not something I can really articulate because I think I've gotten to a point where I just kind of have that balance. And I just kind of do it. Mm-hmm. I think without trying to make them a part of it. Now recently, there's been some cracks because I've had a lot of stuff go on, like just finances.
Yeah.
As a state employee, a dad who only has one income, like we talked about earlier, I had a lot of car trouble, very expensive car trouble, and so it's not something I wanted to put on them, but I kind of let them know, that this is a hit that I've taken recently that I wasn't really prepared for, so that is something we have to kind of work around, but I don't tell them the details. I don't talk about like how much we're talking about. I have to just kind of say, like, sometimes I'm like, well, we can't really do that right now. And sometimes I'm like, well, I can't do that because of this.
Yeah.
When they're younger, I would not have ever even gone that far.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they're adults, I think they can kind of handle it and kind of understand, but I still don't want to burden them with that.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't want them to have to see that part of being an adult. And I wonder sometimes maybe I should have them see a little bit more of that because they're going to get there at some point and have those same issues probably. Whether or not they have kids, they're going to have adult requirements and adult issues. So, it is something that maybe I don't know what the level of reason to share with them is to teach them or to show them how to navigate that. My parents didn't, they didn't share a whole lot of stuff with us.
Were your parents blue collar?
White collar. My dad was white collar for sure. He worked for an oil company for pretty much his whole life. He's one of those guys who worked for the same company almost from the start to retirement.
Yeah.
My mom did various occupations. They're both now, they don't work now, but they, looking back, I mean, they had 5 kids altogether. They spent a lot of money. I don't know if they really had it, but they spent it. And I think there were things happening that they never wanted to tell us about, but I could kind of see when I was younger, see some of those discussions, overhear bits and pieces, but they never shared that. Now, even now, I'm 51 years old, and I know that they're having issues, or I think they're having issues in retirement they don't want to talk about, or they don't want to ask us to do anything about. They don't ask me for help, even though I kind of think they probably need it. And I would like to think I'm old enough now I could handle talking to them about it, helping them with it. But they really, I think, hit a lot for me, like more so than I think that I've hit for my daughters. I think they've hit a lot of stuff for me back then.
That was kind of the way back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, I don't want to speak for your parents, but I feel like our parents' generation, they hit a lot of stuff, including like love and it wasn't just like sharing kind of the logistical information. There was withholding of a lot of things, a lot of information that may have been helpful.
Yeah, it different takes on emotions and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely.
I should make clear that I'm not talking about my mom because she will be watching this. Okay. I was talking about Dad.
Yeah, so I mean, I know there's stuff that even now they don't want to tell me, and so I get it. There's stuff I don't want going on that I don't want outright I would ever tell my kids, but you know, and I don't know how to find that balance. I mean, maybe it's different for every person. I think I have a balance now that maybe I'm not even conscious of, but
Yeah.
I do time to time try to stop myself from sharing too much.
I've heard before that if you're a conscientious parent, whatever your worry is, you're in the ballpark of doing okay. Because parents who aren't good parents, they're not even thinking about this stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
And so if I'm worried, if you're worried about trying to find that sort of balance with your kids, you're doing okay with it because you're putting thought and effort into it. And that's what counts.
Definitely.
I mean, what you decide, whether or not you share 40% or 60% or whatever, you're still within a good range there.
Exactly. No, that is true. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. That having your kids in your thoughts enough to know what you should or shouldn't tell them. Yeah, like you said, does show that you care about your kids and they are in your thoughts. And so you're not dumping on them, you're not ignoring them, you're not all that stuff. So,
how easy is it for you to say out loud, "I'm a good dad"?
Not very easy. And if I do, I think I qualify by saying, well, I think I'm a pretty good dad. You sort of like, I'll sort of like kind of make it not wishy-washy, but sort of like qualified to death.
Yeah, exactly.
So
a lot of disclaimers.
Yeah.
Prefaces.
Like and that's also something I struggle with. Generally speaking, like tooting my own horn for almost anything is something I'm not too prone to do.
Yeah.
So definitely with my kids, when people tell me I'm a good dad, I appreciate it. I don't think I doubt it. I think I can accept the compliment and feel good about it. I don't like, oh man, they're just lying to make me feel better. I don't really think I do that. But me saying out loud, I struggle with that because I just like, or I qualify it. Like I said, qualify it a lot. Because I'm like, oh God, if I said that, then somebody's gonna turn around and say, well, you did this back then.
Yeah, that's right.
Something's gonna come up and be
the only person keeping track of that is you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I know that because that's me too.
Yeah. So I think I guess one outcome we can look at is that our kids up to this point, no major issues, not in trouble, never been in. Looking at the job that we do and the place that we work, they've never been in that system.
Yeah.
So I think at least we got that going for us. We've done pretty well that far. But no, it's not easy to do, and I'll qualify it if I do it because I just don't. It's just generally speaking, I just don't like to toot my own horn in that way and say that. So yeah.
It's funny to me. I've thought of this before. Like society looking at a dad. Society is so. How am I going to say this? It's so easy for society to look at a dad and say, "Oh, he's a good dad." Mm-hmm. You've got to do very little.
Yes. Yeah.
If you drop your kids off at school.
Yeah.
I mean, the bare minimum. The equivalent for like society saying a mom is a good mom is so much higher as a bar to get over. But being like a good dad, it is just nothing, and people will think you're a great dad.
Exactly.
But internally, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could do everything great in the world for my kids, and I would still be like, yeah, but. Mm-hmm. I feel like Oscar Schindler. He's like, I could have sold
one more
this
thing.
watch.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
saved one more. Whatever.
No, exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say like, I can do all this stuff, but then the one thing I can't do becomes all I focus on is like the one thing I couldn't do. I'll dwell on that for way too long. Yeah. And like you said, it's, people still talk about, dads babysitting their kids. We don't babysit our kids. We raise our kids. So, mom goes to work, dad stays at home, even for a night. Like we're not babysitting our kids. We're actually we should be raising our kids. So just, little stuff like that just kind of still happens. And it's and a lot of dads like will latch onto that I think a lot of men do latch onto that and say, well, I do this, and then that seems like enough, even though it's really not, because yeah, like you said, that's only the minimum part
Yeah.
of what is required to be a parent. And so, yeah, it's very easy to kind of get that praise, but it's something you signed up to do. You signed up to become a dad. You signed up to do all those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's part and parcel of it all.
I've always been pretty supportive of people if they've said they don't want to be a parent. But since being a parent, my feeling is like, if you don't want to be a parent, then don't be.
Exactly.
Because it is an investment of yourself that you can't even conceive of until you're in the middle of it. And you'll get lost in kind of your thoughts and your worries about all of that. And I mean, it's obviously very rewarding in ways that's hard to even describe, but it's not for the faint of heart. And I think the fact that you could say that the person you're closest to is one of your kids, I mean, that's amazing, Daryl. That's an amazing thing to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's her, and I'm glad I'm able to do that and be a part of that. And I do wonder, like, okay, when she gets older and kind of ready to strike out on her own for real, like, then I won't probably maybe not have that as much, and I have to figure out what is my identity after that, which is something I do kind of think about too. Is like, what's going to be my identity and stuff like that outside of that. Not that I won't have a relationship, but it'll be different.
Yeah,
it'll be empty nest, quote unquote, or something like that. And what will I look like then? Because something I do kind of look at my parents is, at this point, they don't have a whole lot outside of their family, and so we have 5 of us kids. They have lots of grandkids and now great grandkids, and we all kind of have our own thing to do too. I do kind of wonder, like, what's going to be next for me once both my kids have really moved on.
Yeah.
What will I be then? Because I do think a lot of my identity for a long time has been being a dad and being, a divorced dad or single dad or whatever you want to call it. So I do kind of wonder, like, what can I build also at the same time that's going to be for me once they're ready to be on their own, which they should do. They shouldn't. I want them to be able to spread their wings and go on and do all the things they want to do. So
well, and that's our job, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what sucks about being a parent. You work hard at it for years and you put yourself through the ringer, and what you get at the end of it is your kid doesn't need you anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what you want.
Yeah.
Like, it's a self-defeating.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that's what you're striving for. You're striving for the fact that your kid is going to be able to strike out on their own and do their own thing.
Exactly. And I think luckily I have a good relationship with them that they won't, like, forget about me.
Yeah, not
whatever.
abandon you.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, but it is. I'm glad, but I do. That also kind of leads into I do wonder. Okay, what's my future going to be once they're doing their own thing? So, I don't know.
Yeah. Daryl, I really appreciated the fact that you've come over, and I've enjoyed talking to you and getting to know you more. And have you come with something to serve as our benediction?
I think so.
Is it a song from Thrum? Thrum's greatest hits?
I got to tell you, the lyrics I wrote, which were not great, a lot of it was about relationships gone sour, and I don't want to bring that negativity in right now, so we'll kind of leave that off to the side. But
well, I mean,
the music was better, and I can't really just quite sit here and air guitar that.
I'd like for you to come back with a number of songs for next time.
Nice. All right, I can. Over the past several months, I've taken a couple of improv classes here at the Hideout, which, introvert taking improv. I don't know that I'll really stick with it, but I've enjoyed it so far.
That's ballsy.
One of the concepts that's kind of the foundation of improv is called yes and.
Yeah.
Where you react to what the other person does, and you be excited about it, and you respond to it so it moves forward. And I think that's really a good way to kind of do life, I guess, to be yes and to life. When something comes in, give it a chance, respond to it, and kind of see where it goes. I feel like I've spent a lot of time in my life, missing out on relationships I could have had, friendships I could have had, because I was either too shy to respond, or I didn't know how, or I thought I didn't want to. So I want to be going into the time I have left, my future, with more of a yes and kind of like accept things as they come, obviously within, reason, but be open to things and be open to responding to things that come to me.
Yeah. Gosh, that's such a great outlook.
Yeah. It's something that like I said, I haven't really had most of my life, and I think it's actually pretty cool. And I'm hoping it kind of makes some good changes for me going forward. So,
how do you feel like you've been, even before maybe you knew about kind of the yes and philosophy? How do you think you were about doing something like that with your girls? Do you feel like that you were good at kind of approaching raising them with that attitude or interacting with them?
I think so. Like, I would try to, encourage their interests. I would try to, as much as we could, do things that they wanted to do.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, no, I'm not going to go to your, I took them both to Girl Scouts and they're in Girl Scouts. I mostly was the one who took them, even though I think by that point we were still married, but I took them because, it was something I wanted to make sure that they got to do. So I do think I've been pretty good at that. If I want to toot my own horn just a little bit, I think I've been pretty good about encouraging them and making sure that they could do the things they want to do. I can't really think of anything that I try to discourage them from, barring things being like dangerous or too expensive. But I do like to think that I was able to give them the chance to try what they wanted to try and do some of the things they wanted to do. So I think I've hopefully been pretty good at yes-anding for them, even though I didn't always do it for me.
Yeah, it's harder. It's much harder to grant yourself that same permission, the permission to live by that same code.
Yeah.
My dad was a great big wall of no, just whatever it was. He never wanted to be inconvenienced by anything big or small. And so my approach with my kids has always been like, maybe just, unless it's an obvious thing where I got to step in or whatever. But for the most part, just give an automatic yes and then try to figure it out after that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's such a valuable thing for kids to, I think it teaches them so many things that they don't even realize they're learning.
Exactly. I just like going to college. When I went to college, a lot of the people that I got to know did all sorts of things in high school that I had the opportunity to do. I didn't do. I didn't join I joined things, but I didn't join a lot of things I could have and probably would have enjoyed because I didn't yes and. I didn't try. I didn't accept it. I remember even my parents telling me I should do some of these things. I didn't do them. So now it's like, well, if it comes up and I can, I should probably at least think about it. Sometimes I wouldn't even think about it, but now it's like, at least I want to give this some thought. So, hopefully it'll, keep going well for me and for other people who want to give it a shot. Be open to things.
Yeah. Yes, and.
Yeah, exactly.